From the beginning, man has yearned to break the surly bonds of Earth. We had two major problems with this, though. No wings and gravity. Not much we could do about gravity, and the closest we ever came to having wings were our furry little cousins somewhere on the wrong side of the rainbow. In the late 1800s, we started to take things into our own hands, but that usually ended with a thud. However, 100 years earlier, two very observant brothers came up with a really good idea. Hey, this is Colorado. We all know it's the best place to live. I'm Donna Vesey, the Gala Guru. Join me as we explore all there is to see and do in our home state. There's adventure and inspiration around every corner. Come along as we uncover the best of what Colorado has to offer on our show, Adventures with the Gala Guru. I've always considered myself a morning person. There is early, and then there's getting up for a hot air balloon ride early.
Morning, welcome to Kangaroo Coffee.
What's the strongest thing that you have?
That would be our Wake Up Avalanche. It has 6 shots of espresso.
6 shots?
Oh, yeah.
That ought to get me hopping.
All right. Here you go. You have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, happening.
And away we go. At the launch site, the crew begin to assemble the balloon. The hot air balloon has 3 main parts. The balloon, which is the colorful fabric which holds the air, the burner, which propels the heat up inside the balloon, and the basket, where the passengers and the pilot stand. The ground crew lay the balloon out and begin inflating it with a powerful fan.
You know, the ballooning, we just love being out here. You know, it's part of my nature. Like I said, I've been doing it for 40 years, so it's all I remember. I love the sound of the fans and the balloon being inflated and the birds singing in the field and the sun coming up behind us. You know, it's just what we do.
Sounds like hours of work, but amazingly, this entire process only takes 10 to 15 minutes. Once they determine there is enough air in the balloon, then they blast the burner flame into the mouth of the balloon. This is exciting. We're about to take off in my very first balloon ride. The ground crew will hold the basket down until the passengers are on board. And when everything is set, they release the balloon and the pilot fires a steady flame from the burner. While we are flying, the crew gets the paperwork out of the way and prepares our breakfast. And who among us doesn't love a champagne brunch? I mean, after all, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's gorgeous. I never had any idea it would be this much fun.
Actually, we won't stay down here because we got to keep moving. We got to get to these other fields up here. So we'll pop up and just kind of catch that wind. It'll blow us over, and then we'll come back down, slow down, see if it blows us left or right, go back up. And just kind of keep doing that here for the next mile, shooting for that field out there. Yodelady, 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 yodelady.
So tell me about the chase team.
You know, our guys are experienced. I've got a radio. I'll call them here in a few minutes when I start to figure out where I think we're going to end up. Balloon to chase, Ken, copy that. Looks like we're good to go here. I'm catching a little right turn up here, so hang tight. So when we do land here, I think it's going to be quite gentle, but remember to bend your knees, pay attention. There's always going to be 1 or 2 bounces. Okay, here comes the next one. This one's going to be the swinger.
Our chase team has arrived.
All right, why doesn't everybody start climbing out, 1 out of each compartment?
Once we land, the crew begins the arduous task of deflating and repacking the balloon. The parachute valve is opened all the way, so the air can escape right out of the top of the balloon. Then they pull the inflated balloon onto the ground and grab the cord that is attached to the top of the balloon. Once the balloon is down, the air is pushed out, and when flattened, it's then folded up and put back into the stuff sack that it came in. And with most things in life, cleanup takes a bit longer than setup.
Still too good a job.
Ever tried to put a sleeping bag back into its original case?
Stand up there.
While we're waiting for the champagne corks to pop, our pilot Greg entertains us with a little balloon history.
Montgolfier brothers were a couple of paper makers, and they were burning scrap paper at the end of the day, and they saw the embers going up in the smoke, and so they thought perhaps the smoke had some magical powers, and if they were able to harness its energy, they'd fly. So they went ahead and they built a little paper balloon, and they held it over the fire, and they let it go, and sure enough, it rises up. So they're like, cool, we're on to something here. Let's go to the academy, see if they have any recommendations or suggestions for us. Well, at the academy, of course, they're like, what do we know? We've never flown, we've never left the earth. When we climb Mount Blanc or Pikes Peak, we get a little lightheaded on top, so perhaps there's no oxygen. It would be our recommendation that you send up some test animals. So they went ahead and they built a little bit larger balloon, and they put a chicken, a duck, and a goat on board, and they heat up the balloon and they let it go, and it's a nice calm day, and it goes up a couple 100 feet, and then it levels off and cools off and comes racing back down into the earth and smashes into the ground, and they run over and they check on the animals, and the chicken and the duck were fine, but they figured because they were birds, they probably knew how to land properly, but the goat unfortunately didn't read his landing instructions and hold on, and he broke his leg, so they whacked him right there on the spot.
Bad day to be a goat.
Cooked him up on the fire, and that was our first picnic in the field following the balloon flight. So they decided that man would survive and they would continue with the experiment. And so they went ahead and they needed money, permission, and financing. So they go out to King Louis, as we said, and he said, yeah, come on out to the chateau. We'll announce it to all the people of Paris. We'll make a big party out of it. They said 200,000 people came out to that first flight of man, and he said, as a bonus, I've heard about your goat. I've got a couple of prisoners who are slated for death this weekend, so we'll go ahead and we'll tie them on board so we don't lose anybody that matters. King's a smart guy. They finish heating up the balloon, and away it goes. Well, unlike the goat and chicken ride that just went up a couple 100 feet, this balloon went up a couple 1,000 feet. It catches the winds aloft that they know nothing about. Gone, just disappears out over the horizon, lost. So everybody watching the show, of course, is like, the gods are upset with us. Everybody go home, they've just taken the men, show's over. Well, out in the fields are the peasants, and they're out there and they're picking their grapes and doing whatever they're doing, and here comes this thing over the horizon, and it's got the face of the devil on the side, and it's got smoke billowing out beneath it, so it's obviously a demon of some sort. So the balloon comes, it crashes into the earth, and they run over with their pitchforks, their scythes, and their sickles, and they kill the beast, and they chop the balloon up into little pieces, doing their civic duty, of course, saving the earth. Well, out from underneath all the fabric comes Pilatre and Co., and being good Parisians, they had carried some champagne on board. Well, here come the peasants, of course, to kill the aliens that arrived, and the boys are like, whoa, wait. We're from the region, we have champagne, we will share it with you. And they said they recognized the label as being from a local vineyard, thus proving they must have originated on Earth. So they spared their lives, and we continue to this day just in case the mad landowner comes after us, we can appease him with a toast and have him be part of the fun. The winds have welcomed us with its softness, and the sun has blessed us with its warm hands. We have flown so high and so well that the gods joined us in our laughter and set us gently back into the loving arms of Mother Earth. Cheers.
Wow, a hot air balloon ride is the most incredible experience imaginable. You want to be sure to allow about 3 hours, wear good shoes, and bring a jacket and some sunscreen. It's fascinating to see a hot air balloon floating on the horizon, but it's even more breathtaking to see a multitude of them filling the sky. There is nothing quite as spectacular as a balloon festival, so I caught up with Patsy Buchwald, president and CEO of the Colorado Balloon Classic at the newly remodeled Hotel Elegante. Colorado Springs just happens to be home to the largest and longest running hot air balloon festival in the Rocky Mountain region. Welcome, Patsy.
Thank you, Donna.
How long have you been involved with the Balloon Classic?
I moved here in 1984 and immediately went to the Balloon Classic, so since '84.
How many balloons are in the actual festival?
This year we have 13 more balloons than we had last year. So every year the number varies. This year we have 83 balloons flying at Colorado's largest balloon festival here in Colorado Springs.
Wow, that's a lot, 83.
It is a lot.
Why do you have to be a pilot to fly a hot air balloon? You really can't steer it.
You have to be a pilot because it's a federally registered aircraft.
Okay.
That's the main reason. And we don't steer it because we become part of the wind flow. We become the wind. So we go wherever the wind takes us, but we are governed by all the federal regulations.
Why do we have to do it so early in the morning?
You know, I ask that question too. And I'm sometimes amazed that I'm in ballooning because I'm a night person. So I get up early in the morning because it is magical. We need very stable air because you're in a balloon that is like an 80-foot sailboat, if you're more familiar with sailing. And when the wind hits the balloon, it's going to cause it to do, it could cave in, or the landing could be what we call a sporty landing, where you bump along. And so to make sure it's safe, we fly when the winds are calm, and particularly in Colorado, that seems to be right after sunrise.
Do you have any control whatsoever with the wind up there?
We don't have control over the wind, but people don't realize how many layers there are of the wind. The pilots become very versed. They can feel it on their neck even. So we do have control of going up and down. You add more heat, hot air rises, so we go up. And if you let the air in the balloon cool, we come down slowly. But they have vents that they can open to help release some of that air if they need to come in, say, on a more focused target. Particularly the competitive flyers are very versed at doing that. But while they're flying, they're looking for that current that's going to take us here. So let's say we're in a competition, we really want to land there, and we're coming in, and then the ground winds push us over the other way. We have to be prepared to either land at a different area safely or do a loft again and attempt to come back in to that landing area. So it takes a lot of skill, a lot of real finesse to fly a balloon because you have to feel and become part of the wind.
Was it scary the first time you ever went up in a balloon?
It was magical. I still, after all these years of being with the Balloon Classic and working in the hot air balloon industry, it's still magic. The closest way to describe it is if you can, as a small child, you may have thought about a magic carpet ride. Mm-hmm. It's like a magic carpet ride, except you have these beautiful colors above you. And then you do hear the sound of the burner, which little kids have said it sounds like a dinosaur or dragon or something.
Growling at you.
Yeah, making its noise. You can hear people talking below. If you're down flying lower, they actually talk to you as you're flying by them. You can hear the dogs barking. It is just truly magical. It's one of those experiences that have to be your own experience.
At what age can you start getting your pilot rating?
If you want to fly a glider or a balloon, you can get your student pilot rating at 14 years old. And at 16 years old, you can legally be flying a glider or a hot air balloon.
How do most people get involved with ballooning?
There's balloon clubs all over the world. In this region, there's the Ballooning Society of Pikes Peak. Their website is bosopp.com.
Okay.
They meet every month, and there's balloon flights almost every month here. There's a club in the Denver area called Colorado Balloon Club. But just Google hot air balloon clubs and you can find them all over the world.
I think balloons are so interesting, and there's so many interesting shapes. Tell us about some of the shapes that you have in there.
This year we're really excited because we have Sunny Boy coming in. Huge sunshine. The sun will be shining in Memorial Park this year. Flown by Carol Weiner, a female pilot, actually out of Ohio. And we have the biggest fish you're ever going to see in Prospect Lake at Memorial Park. Got to be there this year. Gus T. Guppy. He is such a cutie. Big, but look for him. Have the cameras ready for Gus T. Guppy. We're hoping he can do the world famous splash and dash where the pilot sets the balloon down in the water and then flies out. For more information on the Balloon Classic, we're all over the place on social media. Great tool to educate people on either about the Balloon Classic or about ballooning or about Colorado Springs. So find us on social media.
Thanks for being with us today, Patsy.
Thank you, and I'll see you in the sky.
To book your hot air balloon flight, call Adventures Out West at 719-578-0935. And for more information on hot air ballooning, check out some of these fun books at the Pikes Peak Library District. That's it for this edition. I'm Donna Vesey. Thanks for watching. Be sure to catch all the thrills on our next episode of Adventures with the Gala Guru. But until then, be sure to get out and rock your own adventure. Woo!